Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce that on January 5th, I'm going to be freely gifting each of you my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. In the book, which was initially shown to me in a dream and has been followed by a next level amount of synchronicity, by the way, I share the keys to manifesting abundance that I've personally discovered over 20 plus years of trial, error, and deep exploration of these perspectives, as well as one golden key that ultimately ties them all together. Also, I would like to invite you to participate in a unique abundance manifestation experiment with me and the other readers that is outlined in detail at the end of the book and at the book's website, goldenkey.gift, where readers will also share the inspiring results of their abundance manifestation experiments. So if you're wanting 2021 to be the year that you alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level, head over to goldenkey.gift to sign up to accept my golden gift right when it comes out on January 5th. All right, Dalien, here we go again.
Greetings and salutations.
All you humans.
Oh, haha. All my fellow Earthstronauts.
Oh, man.
Donning your...
Okay, edit that one out. No.
Oh, saucy. He's feeling saucy, folks. Sassy. What's going on with you, dude?
Let's see. What's going on with me? I'm, of course, always pretty chipper most of the time. Always chipper doing this podcast because it instantly puts me in a great mood, but extra good mood because we received some lovely feedback from some listeners. I always kindly ask for feedback, reviews on iTunes, helps us to reach more people, yada, yada. And when people do it, it just makes me so excited because, you know, this is, as we always say, a labor of love, and having that love returned back, reflected back, just kind of powers us to continue, putting in the effort and energy it takes to do this. And in this case, let's see who we've got here. Had a couple reviews, one by Zippy Burns, and Zippy wrote, "Keep it up. I recently just met my star twin 26 years after we were born, 1 hour apart. We quickly started to realize how much of the exact same person we were, all the way down to almost matching tattoos in the exact same spot. She insisted I download this podcast. She could not have been more right. I'm hooked. Keep up the amazing vibrations. You're changing the world. You are heroes. Thank you. Light love. Namaste, brothers." Super cool. What a cool thing. Hour apart, almost matching tattoos. You think there's something going on there? How cool is that? What a great story. Congratulations to you two for, finding each other, essentially, because that's what it sounds like is going on. Some major, soulmate style, twin soul style, or what did he say? In my star twin, whatever the heck you want to call it. Something's up there. So cool. Congratulations on that. And thank you for the feedback, Zippy Burns. We also have another review from Cosmic Court. And the title is "Add This Podcast to Your Daily Habits." This podcast has literally changed my life. I listen at least 3 times a week. Sometimes I need to give an extra day in between to let the aha moment settle. And I cannot say enough positive things about Positive Head. It's initiatives like this that will make our world a better place, one human at a time. I look forward to listening to this so much, but have to be careful of listening in the morning because I get so wrapped up in it that I want to take notes, and then all of a sudden I'm running late for work. Smiley face. Dalien and Brandon are amazing co-hosts who just get the world. Love, love, love all of the speakers and guests they feature. They all have amazing insight as to how the world works. If you're a conscious individual looking to grow, heal, or learn, this is where you want to start. I hope you get as many light bulbs going off when you listen as I have. Namaste. What an amazing review to get. I mean, for
Beautiful.
me, I always think when I hear something like this podcast has literally changed my life. I'm so humbled and honored to play any type of positive effect in someone's life, much less something, as profound of a statement as that. I think of Jim Carrey's quote that I always reference: the greatest currency there is the effect you have on others. And so to be able to fulfill my dream of helping people remember their authentic power, because I can't tell you, Dalien can't tell you anything you don't already know. It's just a matter of reminding you of maybe what your soul has forgotten in your human slumber. And of course, that's the game we set out to play. Oh, let's go into this dream world and see if we can wake up. And of course, once we start to wake up, the only thing to do is to try and wake others up. And in that process, we're constantly waking ourselves up and reminding ourselves. So it's just, a great, wonderful, circle that continues to feed back upon itself. And this is just such an honor for us. And thank you for sharing and reflecting back such amazing beauty, Cosmic Court. So let's see, Dalien. And for those of you who haven't taken the time to go review on iTunes and you listen and you enjoy it, we would certainly love you and appreciate you if you did. We, as you can hear, we like the feedback a lot. More so, I mean, it's great to get, a little more maybe noticeability on iTunes or whatever, but that's so secondary compared to, just hearing from you guys. We love to interact, and we want to interact more and more. And that's why I also always ask for questions. You can write in through positivehead.com. You can also leave a voicemail. If you go onto the podcast page, you'll see a phone number and it goes straight to voicemail. You can leave any questions there and we'll answer. And we really want to do as much of that as possible because, I don't know, just interacting with you guys is the most exciting thing for us. So, and speaking of interacting, Dalien, we have a question that did come in from lovely Gwen Harris. And she wrote a bunch of really amazing stuff, and I won't read it all. What I will do is kind of give the question, the meat of the question. And it was, I've been following Abraham for a while, and the question I've wanted to ask them, which I will now ask you, is about negative emotions. I heard Abraham say many times that when you feel a negative emotion, source is not in agreement with how you are looking at whatever is causing it. So, for example, when you hate someone, the reason you feel that negative emotion is because your source is loving that person, and your emotion is the indicator of the two feelings, your hate and source's love. But what about when source is guiding you away from something that is not on your path? How would you know the difference? I had a friend that came into my life for a while, and then there was some contrast, and she vibrated out of my life. It was a great lesson for me to practice unconditional love, but I had to do it from afar. So after a period of time when she called up and said, hey, let's get together for a glass of wine and chat, I had a strong negative emotion, and I was wondering whether that was my source guiding me away from that little chat, knowing that no good was going to come from it, or not. I was not in agreement with, my negative feeling about meeting up with her, which I did not do. And how about when you meet someone for the first time and something just feels off? Is that an indicator from source to step back, or a source not in agreement with the offness that you're feeling? Just curious about your thoughts on the subject, and I hope I explained it so that you understand the question. I think I do understand the question, and I think it's an excellent question, Gwen. Thank you so much for writing in.
Absolutely.
I'd love to give you my version in answer, and I know Dalien will have some great insight as well. So I think, I think you're talking about two different things here, Gwen. One is when you, for example, you used the word hate. That's a very strong word and a very strong emotion and strong energy. I do believe that is when you're not in sync with source. If you're experiencing hate, because hate implies a judgment of some some kind. And Source has no need to judge because it understands everyone is perfect exactly as they are where they're at. There is no wrong way to do this thing because anything that someone's doing that you don't agree with is going to teach them ultimately what they need to learn, and it's going to lead to the next greatest and grandest version of themselves. So if you're experiencing hate, then you're looking at it through the wrong lens. You are out of sync with your Source in that moment, because Source has unconditional love and is so expansive it can envelop it all. It can make room, hold space for all of these awful things we hear about and see. It's all part of the master plan, essentially, right? So in that case, I would say you're off. Now, the other piece that you're talking about is, what about, someone who comes into my life and they're not behaving in a way that is in sync with my own path? Am I just being off by sort of detaching? I would say absolutely not. In that case, you're not judging them. You're not hating them. You even said it yourself. Unconditional love from afar. Perfect. That's it. That you got it. It doesn't mean you've got to subject yourself. Self-respect is of the utmost importance in your journey, in your path. You don't need to subject yourself to anyone's low vibration that they're trying to interject into your world. And usually, of course, when they're doing that, they're doing it unbeknownst to them. They're not even aware enough to know what they're doing. Why would you judge it? It just is what it is. It's not a match for your vibration. Following that indicator, for example, you mentioned when you meet someone new and you have that off feeling, absolutely. Your intuition is such a powerful tool. You're not hating them. You're not judging them. You're not mad at them. You just know it's a flavor that doesn't match your vibration, and that's okay. And you remove yourself with unconditional love from the situation, and that is perfectly fine. You are not required in any way to mix it up with every person that comes across your path in this journey whatsoever. So that's my interpretation of it, and I hope that makes sense and really helps to clarify in some way and gives you some clarity, Gwen, and anyone else listening who's maybe thought the same thing. Very two different things, we're talking about here. And I think what you're doing is getting it right. You're removing yourself when it's not a match, and bring unconditional love no matter what the situation is. And if you're feeling off, follow that intuition. It knows more than your thinking mind will ever know. And the more you use it, the more powerful it gets. And the more powerful it gets, the more you use it. And next thing you know, it's hard to ever pull anything over on you because you're such a powerful, tapped in, tuned in, turned on being that's getting information from sources well beyond the five senses. And you want that. And it's going to tell you things about people. When you walk into the presence of someone, it's not only are you taking in information from all the five senses, but you are also taking in, and actually this is something that in a forthcoming podcast with Amy Cuddy, we're going to talk about power poses and how body language is like how we process almost everything with people. And that's great. That's great information, but there's even more beyond that. There is taking in information from the chakra centers. Your aura is expanding all around your body, and you come into contact with another being, and your auras are instantly mixing it up. Your chakras are instantly mixing it up, and they're sending information back and forth to one another. So you absolutely should be listening to that information that's pouring in from they cannot lie through their energy and they cannot deceive through their energy. And if there's something off and you're feeling it, walk away, remove yourself as eloquently with unconditional love as possible, and allow them to continue their journey of self-discovery and growth in whatever way serves them, without you mixed up in it.
Yeah, absolutely. What you said first, Brandon, was very much what I was thinking as an answer to the question, because it definitely made me think. My take on whether you're getting certain impulses from source is that, a great majority, in my opinion, of those impulses would be positive. So you really wouldn't be getting possibly too many things that are telling you to actually get away from anything, because source to me is empowering you to just constantly get whatever it is that you're attracting, right? Mm-hmm. So even if you're attracting things that are relatively negative, right? Mm-hmm. Or really, as you said, even the most difficult things that we deal with in the human experience, ultimately the soul will create any kind of circumstance that the person thinks is appropriate, right? Mm-hmm. The soul is sort of the entity that's there to empower us to create anything. And it really entails, both really beautiful things and, atrocities, because in the end, we're okay. And, it's a perspective that can be hard to understand. But in the end, no matter what happens on this plane, we're sort of like blameless,
untouchable,
or faultless. Yeah, in the end, we're like our spiritual innocence is sort of like untainted, you could say.
Yeah.
But I would think that like a lot of those impulses are not really from source so much as maybe like another part of yourself.
That's an interesting. I mean, that's an interesting point and perspective to bring up. I don't know if I 100% agree. I mean, I feel like so if you're getting impulses about something being off, it's coming from something beyond the self, your higher self, or it's coming from, your own chakra system, which is tied into your whole higher self, your non-physical self. So I totally get what you're saying, although I don't, let's say source is sending you, or you're attracting this negative person into your experience, right? Maybe only as a tool to better hone your intuition. But if you don't, and you go down the rabbit hole with them and it ends up in this mess, then that's perfect too, is I think what you're saying.
Yeah, no, to me it makes sense, because what I keep going back to is thinking that the source vibration, Brandon, is always the highest. So it's so high that it's just infinitely accepting and unconditionally loving, right? So it seems like there wouldn't be rejection there. And that's why there is no, rejection on this plane. We can manifest anything, et cetera.
Yeah.
But there's definitely impulses that we get and intuitions, et cetera, that can serve as a warning, right? And you can get what I think, for example, that's like very obvious with source is when you get the, any kind of life-saving impulse that, prompts you to react, for example, to like oncoming traffic or some sort of immediate threat, right? So that's like a very biological, instinctive response, right? And then there's other sorts of, more sort of subtle and psychic intuitions that really would be, I think, can potentially be tremendously helpful, and I think are really universally helpful because they're meant to show you something important.
Yeah.
But they may be of a more negative quality or vibration
based off what you want to experience.
Exactly. And so aren't coming necessarily directly from source, but it's all a part of source anyway. So
right.
In the end, it makes
how much you're dissecting it and from what perspective we're really speaking is always what it comes back to, because from one perspective, I'm this separate being, Brandon Beecham, and from another perspective, I'm just an emanation of source talking into a microphone and myself is listening.
Exactly. Yeah. So I hope that made sense, because the part that you said earlier, though, Brandon, about you're honoring that is absolutely true, though, because I feel like even if it's a negative sort of intuition, right? It's not so much a question of is this from source or not, but what is it really trying to show me? Is that of value to me right now?
Right.
Can it serve another person? You know what I mean? Like in the case of your sister's story, right? That was such a great example of someone who may be reacting in a pretty extremely negative way, flipping completely the other way because of your, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I feel like it's if that all made sense, then hopefully it'll help.
I think at the end of what you're saying is source has no negative judgment about anything or anyone.
Right.
Rather, you are through your own system, and as you become more sensitive to your, let's call it your independent system, which is tied into a bigger system, your higher self or source, it will give you indicators about energy. It's like reading a book, right? And this person is showing up with a certain vibration that maybe isn't in the same place that you are, and in alignment with the sort of ideals and ethics and so for moralities that you are tied into with your more expanded awareness. So you're going to get an indicator of here's a read on what this is you're dealing with. Now, there's no wrong answer in how you interact with that. You may decide to marry that person, and that's perfect because you're going to grow in a way that you're meant to grow. At the end of the day, it's all based, there is no right or wrong. It's all based off of what it is you want to experience next.
Exactly.
Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a quick moment to tell you about our new sponsor, New Calm. As you all know, mindfulness and meditation are key components to being the best version of ourselves. However, I would say sleep is even more important, because if we aren't well rested, our bodies can't repair themselves properly and we can't perform optimally or think as clearly. So when I first heard that the new Calm system has been clinically proven in over 1 million sessions to improve sleep and reduce stress without using drugs or side effects, I was excited to get it for my brother to give it a try because he has been having issues with his sleep for many years. The new Calm system is great because it uses cutting-edge neuroscience and consists of 3 non-invasive and non-pharmaceutical items, all of which are included in a monthly subscription that costs less than a daily cup of Starbucks, which will probably only keep you up at night anyway. So if you'd like to feel better rested and less stressed, head over to positivenewcalm.com, where Positive Head listeners will get 50% off a 30-day subscription of New Calm, which also comes with a money-back guarantee. That's positivenucalm, all one word, .com. Check it out. So now I'd like to switch gears a little bit. Without further ado, I would like to welcome my dear friend Sue Krebs back on the show to give us another positive pondering breakdown of the day. Hello, Sue. Welcome. It's been a minute.
How are you?
I'm excellent. I'm doing a lot better now that I get the opportunity and pleasure of chatting with you and having you impart some of your wisdom on the show. So thank you, as always, for taking the time, effort, and energy to contribute.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. So
yeah, and any of you guys listening, you can check out Soul Speaking Facebook page. And Sue actually does Akashic Records readings. So if you want to learn more about that fascinating topic and interested in a reading, by all means, get in touch with Sue via her Facebook page.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see what do you got in store for us today?
All right. Well, most everything I write, it reflects what's going on in my life, my world. And so
Excellent.
I used a quote that I had written actually quite a while ago. But it is very applicable to what I think is what many of us are going through right now. So,
all right.
Life is a balancing act that we're all just figuring out as we go. And my thoughts on that were this. Life has never felt more precarious to me than this current stage that I'm moving through. Well, I suppose that could be said of every new stage we go through, right? But seriously, this has got to be the most challenging. True or not, it certainly feels that way to me right now. Life is shifting constantly. Things that I used to feel sure about get thrown into the mix, and now I feel like I'm swimming through quicksand with them. I tune into my intuition, follow what I'm sure is my guidance, only to have things go belly up. I often find myself standing with my hands open in supplication to whatever the powers that be and asking, what the hell? Okay, actually, I use more colorful language than that, but I'm trying to keep it somewhat respectable here. What the hell seems to be the drum that I've been beating lately, and I know that I'm not the only one. I have some amazing people in my life who are creating some phenomenal things. They're taking enormous risks, following their hearts, and finding doors repeatedly being closed in their faces. What the hell? They too thought they were following guidance. Aren't doors supposed to open when we do that and not get slammed in our faces? Yet this is the theme that I hear over and over. So I have to believe that there's something monumental going on. It's not just me. It's becoming a pattern. So I have to think there's a lesson held within it. Again, I stand with my hands held in supplication. Please tell me what it is so that I can move through it with more grace than I seem to be displaying lately. And that right there is the whole point, I believe. Moving forward with grace, even when things don't appear to be flowing. Life is changing fast, faster than ever before. The key to navigating it all seems to be fluidity, being willing to roll with the abrupt changes in direction and violent storms that flare up and just as quickly subside. Being flexible enough to withstand the onslaught while continuing to hold the vision of what it is we're creating and where we see ourselves going. That's the dance, the balancing act. We've all deduced by now that there is no roadmap for what life is supposed to look like these days. We're blazing trails here. We're cutting paths through territory that has never yet been explored. So how the hell are we supposed to know what it's going to look like? We aren't. That's just it. We're not supposed to know, yet we are supposed to keep moving forward. So breathe easier if you too are being buffeted by the winds of change. You're not alone. No one knows what this is supposed to look like, so quit expecting yourself to know. The upside to all of this is that we get to create what it looks like. Personally, I vote for movement with grace and ease. Together, we are all just figuring life out as we go. Sometimes things fall into place much more smoothly than at other times, but we do ourselves a huge disservice when we start to travel down the road of, what am I doing wrong? We're not doing anything wrong. We're just clearing debris from the path in front of us, which can only make the road smoother for those following us. In the meantime, take heart. Breathe deeply. Pause if you must, but know that you're doing important work here, and it truly matters. Please don't let your discouragement at these temporary setbacks become anything bigger than what it is, a momentary redirection as we continue forward towards our dreams. We've so got this.
Oh, I love that. And as always, the thing that you're always right on with every time you share one of your great, insights on a quote on the show, it always has some sort of a tie-in or synchronicity with something that we've been talking about. And I know how busy you are, and you're not, necessarily always tuning into the daily podcasts. And yesterday, or the most recent daily podcast that we talked about, the title is Drop Expectations, Drop Expectations, Drop Expectations. And we talked about, we actually shared a clip from Bashar, and Bashar talked about something that I hadn't quite heard put this way before that I absolutely loved and resonated with. And he said, the best possible version of your life your physical mind can imagine is the least the higher mind can get. If you're constantly insisting what the physical mind imagines, you're limiting what you can get. And it's, feel the true power and allowance if you can handle it, he said. And, a quote that I just had posted a few hours ago as well, water is fluid, soft and yielding, but water will wear away rock, which is rigid and cannot yield. As a rule, whatever is fluid, soft and yielding will overcome whatever is rigid and hard. This is another paradox. What is soft is strong. And that's a quote by Lao Tzu. And so, I just love that you've brought this forth and shined yet more light on this topic that I think you're right. We're all feeling in different ways in our own unique way. I mean, if anyone tuning into this podcast is a vibrational match for, it's like it's all family here, right? A close family. And so we're going to see a lot of overlap and a lot of reflection in each other's stories. And so, I just love having you come in and give your wisdom and share your perspective, and always on time. So I don't know about all the other things that are not timely or working out as you envision, but in this particular case, you got it. You've got it down pat. You do it every time.
Well, and you know what? And that's such a cool reminder, too, because in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't seem like such a big deal, right? I mean, it's a little detail in our interactions that it always lines up. And yet, if the universe can line up stuff like this, because I'll admit, I don't catch the daily podcast as often as I would like to. And so I didn't know what the discussion was yesterday or the day before. And it's mind blowing, right? So if these little details can be so lined up, why the hell do we sweat the big ones? Yeah. Right? I mean, if the universe is going to take care of the little nitty gritty stuff, of course it's got the big stuff.
Exactly.
And, I guess, interestingly enough, I'm reading a book right now that's called Fuck It. And I highly recommend it. I can't remember the author's name, John something or another. And and it's this whole idea about letting go and how everything is spiritual. We've talked about that before in the past, that, we're spiritual beings. So everything is spiritual. There's not a right way, a wrong way, a good way, a bad way. It all is, right? By virtue of the fact that this is a spiritual experience and it's all contained within, it all has to be spiritual.
In that container, yeah.
Yeah. And so, the idea is not to do it a certain way, and we get so caught up in, the latest, if you will, the latest fad, the latest, religion. Although spirituality is not really a religion, it can become as dogmatic as the religions that we ran away from because they were dogmatic.
Yep.
And so he talks about that spirituality, or the key to all of this, is not giving more meaning or finding more meaning in life. It's actually letting go and finding less.
Wow.
And it's really cool because, I mean, if you think about it, that expression, whenever you reach the end and you just go, fuck it, right? You're just,
Right.
That's the ultimate letting go. You just go, whatever, I let it go. And as soon as you let it go, you can feel that release. He calls it tension. You can call it tension or stress or, attachment or whatever word works, but there's a letting go of something and there's a relief as soon as you do it.
Yeah.
And so this book is about just saying fuck it to more and more and more things in your life that are causing you stress. And when that's that paradox again, when you let go, when you reach that state of allowing, now the universe knows what it is you want. And if you stop blocking it, it shows up. And that's what happens.
Yep.
So it's that paradox. We think we have to work hard, forge hard in this direction or do that, or, goals and blah, 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 all these things we've been taught. And yet it's the letting go. It's the release. It's the allowing that then lets all this stuff line up, because you and I don't try to coordinate this. I mean,
no, not at all. It's so, I don't even know what you're going to read. I don't even look at it ahead of time anymore.
And that cracks me up. Right. And yet it always ends up being so timely. So it's that we let this go and it works. It works beautifully.
It's in the flow. Yeah.
And so I guess it's a great reminder to just do this on a grander scale and do this in the areas that really do matter to you. And you make it work by making it mean less, it's so ironic because, we hang on, we tight, we grab our grip harder. And then that's what slows it all down even more. And when you finally open your hands and go, fuck it. Stuff shows up and it's like, that's cool.
It's that aha moment when you realize needing nothing brings everything.
Yeah.
It's like the great laugh of the universe, the great paradox. And we're all so wired to hold on to these ideas that we have about what it should or shouldn't be. And every time I get better and better at letting go and realizing I need nothing, I'm a self-sufficient being. I'm literally a self-contained divine being with nothing missing, nothing that is needed in any given moment. And when you can move into that space, things just. Once again, you may have an aim or a goal for something to happen, but if it doesn't happen, it's like not getting something that you ordered at a restaurant we ran out of it. Oh, okay, whatever. No big deal. There's so many other things coming, and it's just like nothing is that important. No person, no job, no thing, and that is a good thing because you are self-sufficient, and we need to all just move into that more fully and just let it flow as it should.
Yeah, I'm loving these reminders because it's so poignant. I mean, I've got people, so many people I know that are doing these really big things. And obviously, the bigger it is, the more you're invested financially and emotionally and time-wise and all those things. And then to keep remembering that even though it's so big and you've got so much invested, the best way to move it forward is to let go. And you're like, well, that is such a contradiction.
I know, huh? Well, it's the art of living and the art of manifestation is really the new art form, in my opinion. Learning the art of manifestation, and that's what we're all becoming conscious of how to do it. And this is the formula. This is the paint, the canvas. This is how the tools that you use to do it in a way that is optimally impactful to yourself and those around you.
Yeah. It's truly an amazing thing when you can step out of it enough to just look at the process and go, God, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. It is the whatever the divine higher mind behind all of this is like, let's just surrender to its brilliance of how to do it all. We're just here to watch in awe and turn over rocks and, learn to let it go.
Yeah, again and again and again. I keep getting those reminders.
Until you get it right. Well, Sue, thank you as always for taking time to share with us here. It is truly a pleasure, and I will anxiously await the next synchronistical, thought and blog that you have to share with us. So until then, journey well and make it a great day.
Likewise. And thank you. Welcome to all the people listening. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Well, that about wraps it up for today. We are out of imaginary time yet again. The good news is there's an infinite amount of it in front of us. So we'll try this again.
Neat little bow on this episode for
What's
now.
that?
Putting a neat little bow on this episode for now. Just wrapping it up.
So speaking of a neat little bow, we need to leave the people with a wonderful musical offering.
Mm-hmm.
And
shall we say, we can just go ahead and put ourselves queuing up some tracks like, we didn't quite have some already.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah. It's all good, though, because we can beat each other to come up with a track. And,
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so I got my go-tos. You got yours. Who will get there first? I might just leave this in there, too. I keep thinking. Hey,
what is it?
This whole exchange. Us looking for a track. I mean, I'll leave something in there.
What about a bonobo track? We haven't done that.
All right. I think I'm gonna I don't know. I feel like I could just give up now.
Yeah.
It's like I lose.
Oh, I love this. We've
lose.
never done this London Grammar Hey Now bonobo remix, have we?
There you go.
Did we
lost,
do it?
But I still won.
Did we do?
No, that sounds. I don't think I've heard the track.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, you're sure we haven't? I'm thinking we might have played it before for some reason.
Bonobo what?
It's a London Grammar. It's like a female vocal.
Okay.
And it's Hey Now. Check it out real quick and just.
Okay. Just check out what you got here. I'm pretty damn sure we haven't played this.
Fast forward it a little bit.
So.
Fast forward it a little bit. No? Okay.
This is
cool.
a tasty track, too.
It's really good.
Like I said, hey, as soon as you said, how about bonobo, I'm like, oh, okay. Well.
Yeah. So for today, we have a
Tasty.
bonobo remix of a London Grammar song called Hey Now.
Sweet, sweet musical vibrations.
Enjoy. Also, before we cue up today's song, I wanted to remind you about the game with the universe on our website, where you can choose the first number that comes to your mind and it'll pull up that episode number of the podcast. I've been saying this is a great way to co-create synchronicity and magic with your higher self for quite some time. And if you go to positivehead.com/universe, there is a super fun and simple interface to play this game with your higher self. I firmly believe just by setting the intention to play in this way, it opens up the door for magic, and it's a synchronistic way to hone in on nuggets of wisdom out of the huge catalog of episodes that are specifically appropriate for you at this time in your journey to becoming the next greatest and greatest version of yourself. And it also makes for a super fun way to spark the curiosity of friends and family by having them choose a number, so they'll hopefully go and check out their number as well, which I greatly appreciate because it helps us to spread the word about the podcast. Once again, the address is positivehead.com/universe. And as a quick reminder, if you're curious to learn more about Purium superfoods and why I take them almost every day, be sure to also check out positivehead.com/transformation. On this journey of becoming the next greatest and grandest version of ourselves that we have all embarked upon, I cannot stress the importance of managing your physical vibration enough. And quite honestly, Purium has put together the simplest plan I've found to do so. I have my favorite, the appleberry shake, at least 5 times a week. Once again, to learn more about the Purium transformation, go to positivehead.com/transformation. Or if you want to keep it simple and just try out my favorite, the appleberry shake, you can go straight over to ishoppurium.com and be sure to use code positivehead for 25% off. I'll spell that for you. It's ishoppurium.com, and be sure to use your Positive Head 25% coupon code.